Hello everyone, and welcome to another Gran Turismo video. This one we are going to do a little strategy guide on this week's Nations Cup race in Group 2 cars at Blue Moon Raceway in Field A. Fuel is set to ×3, tyre wear set to ×10, and your tyre selection are hard and mediums. And in this race, which is new for the series, the FIA races, there is a tyre requirement in that you must use the hard tyres at some point in the race. Now with this new season, Polifoni have shaken things up quite a bit. Races are much longer now, and with this new tyre requirement rule, finding the optimum strategy is certainly much more difficult than it used to be. So I can't sort of give you what I think is going to be the optimal strategy for the race, but what I have done is ran through a couple of things, and we can discuss the tyres, how they perform relative to each other, the sort of drop off in tyres, how long a pit stop is going to take, and then I'll give you a few of my ideas on what I think would be the best way to run the race, depending on where you qualify and where you start. So this first run we're looking at here was me doing a 2-stop run, and I was going to do mediums, and then hards. Now at the time I had no idea how long I was going to make each stint last, because I had no idea how the tyres would last, as this was actually my first go at it. So as you can see, we're doing lap times there in the sort of low to mid 102s, and as we jump forward here, we're just going to complete lap 9. You can see the drop off in lap time. We've gone from a 2:0 to a 2:07 by lap 9. But the tyres are holding up quite nicely. Laps 6 to 9 there, all in the 2:07. So the mediums, this is where in this lap was the sort of lap where I found the mediums starting to go off. Lap 10. So we're actually going to pit at the end of this lap, and we're going to take on another set of medium tyres, as you'll see. Now you can see down there, the fuel is at, we've got the fuel counter up, and I am just running the whole race on mixture 1. I don't like changing fuel map if I don't have to. Now at the start of the race, your fuel indicator will suggest you've got about 24 laps worth of fuel in a 27 lap race. So there is a small amount of fuel saving required if you don't want to don't want to fuel at your pit stop. So here we are, we're into the pits, and we'll take on a new set of mediums, and we'll get an idea on how long a pit stop is going to take. So there you go, that's 1:08.2 for our in lap, so it's only 5.5 seconds loss on the in lap. So as I said, fuel, you're going to have to do a little bit of fuel saving if you don't want to take any fuel on the race. But as you're doing a 2-stopper, on this run anyway, we're doing a 2-stopper, taking fuel on, not with too much of a problem. So here we are, coming to the end of our second stint. You can see lap 12 there, our fastest lap. It's just actually gone off the screen, but it was a 1:01.6. And lap time is quite consistent there, right up to about lap 20. Doing low to mid 102s. So of course we've got slightly less fuel on this stint, so the tyres are just going to last that little bit longer. And we're on lap 22, and you can see we have 4 laps of fuel remaining. So we've been doing a little bit of fuel saving over the course of this race. Just a very occasional short shift. Certainly nothing drastic. And if you don't really want to do any fuel saving, then as I said, you can just take the fuel on in the pits. It really won't cost a lot of time, as you're going to see here. We're going to come in for our second pit stop, and we're just going to take on a splash of fuel, and you'll see it takes absolutely no time whatsoever. So in for our second stop, and there we're putting the hard tyres on, because it's mandatory for the race. You must run the hard tyres or you'll pick up a penalty. So we put on an extra lap's worth of fuel there. As you can see, it took about half a second or something. and out we go for our last little stint on the hard tyres. You're going to want to minimise how much running you do in the hard tyres. They are obviously slower than the mediums, so our run on the hard tyres here is only going to be, what's that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 laps. And you can see there from lap 24, a new set of hard tyres, and that lap we've just done there, lap 26, a new set of lap tyres is actually not too bad in comparison to the mediums. They were medium lap times at the end of the second stint were about 102.4, and that was after about 8-9 laps. So the hard tyres are not absolutely terrible. So if you have to do a stint on them, they are workable, and you'll see that later on. We actually take a look at the harder tyre in a bit more closer detail later on in the video. So we're just going to complete this run, lap 27. Lap 25 there, you can see is a 103.8. I think what happened there is we caught up to the single AI car that's running around with us. The AI, an uncanny ability to get in your way. They look like they're trying to let you pass, but actually all they do is it's more like a defensive move they do to you. So over the line we come here for our last lap, and again I think it's another 102.3. So the hard tyres there, at the end of the race, on low fuel, not that much slower than the mediums really. So let's take a look at doing a one stop, starting on the mediums and moving on to hards. So here we are, on the middle of lap 10, and what the lap times are not quite as good as what we did earlier, because we're actually trying to get the fuel saver in early in this run. Don't want to be taking any fuel on for this one. That was the plan: one stop, medium to hard, fuel save, and not take any fuel on in the pit stop. So the lap times have dropped off towards the end of this stint a little bit more than they did on our two stop run, which just because of the fuel saving. So we're doing 103s. So it's about, when you're on the medium tyres, to me they start to go about lap 7-8 is where you start to just notice the grip dropping off. They'll still be good for a few laps after that, without too much lap time loss, but if you're doing the one stop, you're going to try and, well, in this one I think we try and take them to lap 13, and they really are gone by that point. You're really desperately looking for a new set of tyres. So we're coming into that tricky double apex left-hander there. One corner to go. Only 7 tenths down on our fastest lap, but we lose a lot of time through that last corner just before the tyres been worn. You see, it's the tyres on the right hand side of the car, they're the ones taking the hit. It's an anti-clockwise track, so we've got 4 pretty significant left hand turns, so a lot of pressure on the right hand side of the car, so that's where the tyres wear out the most. There we are, we're making our pit stop onto the hard tyres, end of lap 13. And we came out here behind the AI car, and you're just going to get an example of just how bad the AI is at letting you pass. There's miles ahead of us, but it just stops here, middle of the track, and we have to take a really compromised line into the fast right-hander there. So we'll jump forward to the end of the stint on the hard tyres, middle of lap 26. You can see the lap times there. We pitted on lap 13, so from laps 14 right through to laps 23 there, consistently in the sort of mid 102s, so good pace on the hard tyres, not drastically different to what you can do in the mediums. Obviously you're running less fuel here on the hard tyres, so the difference in fuel makes up for the difference in grip that the tyres provide. The lap times here at the end of this run have dropped into the mid 103s because we never took any fuel on our pit stop, and we are critical on fuel. As you can see, we come into the last lap, we've only got 0.7 of a lap and 2%, so my recommendation, you want to be doing some fuel saving during the race, but in your pit stop just take on a few percent, because I think it will make a big difference to your your situation come the end of the race. And I think a lot of people will be struggling for fuel though, or maybe, I think it will surprise a few people, just the fuel situation come the end of the race. A lot of people are going to realise that they're going to have to save fuel over the last few laps. So my recommendation, whether you're doing the 2-stop or the 1-stop, is to take on some fuel at one of your pit stops, just to give yourself a margin of error. And if you find yourself in a battle at the end of the race, just so you've got something to fight with down this very long straight. Well, I say straight, but it's a full throttle, it's a good 20 seconds of full throttle. So in terms of fuel, take on a little drop at your pit stop. Here we come at the end, it's a 103.8 because we had to save so much fuel over the last lap. Now that run there was 4 seconds slower than our 2-stop run. But I think there was more time to be gained in my 1-stop run over my 2-stop run. So there's not a whole lot of difference between over a half-hour race between the different strategies there. So the 2 runs we looked at there, we started on the medium tyres for both of them. So I thought I would do a little run starting the race on the hard tyres just to see how they hold up. And to be honest, pleasantly surprised. Lap times on the mediums at the start of the race are sort of, well, for myself, were low 102s. Never managed to quite creep into the 101s in any of my 2 races on the mediums. But low 102s were the order of the day. As you can see from the lap times there, on the hard tyres, it's sort of high 102s. So obviously a good bit slower, but I thought there would be a little bit more than that. When I tested the hard tyres compared to the medium tyres in time trial, I found the gap to be about 1.2 seconds. However, obviously race pace is a different beast altogether to qualifying pace or time trial pace, where you're just on the ragged edge all the time. You have to rein in a little bit on the hard tyre, rein in a little bit when you're doing a race run. So the gap's more like about 7 to 9 tenths per lap, but the mediums do go off a lot quicker than the hard tyres. And what I'm sort of seeing here is that come about lap 7, 8, the hard tyres, the medium tyres, the gap's going to be only a couple of tenths, and then as you move on to sort of maybe like the lap 10, 11, I think the crossover point will be about lap 10, where the hard tyre will actually probably be slightly quicker than the medium tyre. That's my kind of best guess from my testing from what I'm seeing. So I think the crossover from hard tyre to medium tyre, from medium tyre to hard tyre, how do I put that? The crossover where I think the hard tyre and the medium tyre will be about the same kind of speed in terms of lap time, is probably about 9 laps. So we've just got to lap time. You can see that the hard tyre just starting to drop off a little bit now. We're into the sort of low 103s on the hard tyre. But it feels okay, it feels quite nice to drive on. It doesn't feel a whole lot different to the mediums. I'm guessing that the lap time loss is mostly coming in the traction zones and probably into turns 1 and 2, the fast left-handers. 2 very fast left-handers. So we don't actually complete a race run here. This was just a test to see how the hard tyres held up if you were to start the race on them. So I hope I managed to pass some useful information on yourself. If you're planning on running this race, you've some info to be gained from my testing here. I think the strategy you want to run is probably going to largely depend on where you start. I think if you start at the front, you're going to start on the medium tyres and be fast at the beginning, so you can defend your position, try and make a gap to the cars behind you. Maybe pitting on lap 10, and then maybe you're doing your second pit stop on lap 21, 22, and then just doing a short stint on the hards at the end. But like my run that I did here, that felt pretty good to me. And because you're doing the run on the hard tyres at the end with low fuel, the lap time difference is not that different. If you were to find yourself on the racetrack at the same time as somebody finishing the race on mediums but had already done about 4 or 5 laps on them, I think you'd quite easy, you'd be able to defend your position from them for a couple of laps, and then that crossover would come. If you're starting at the back, I'd maybe start off in the hard tyre, maybe run to about lap 7, 8, and then do 2 stints in the mediums after that, so you're fast at the end of the race on the mediums and try and make up some positions towards the end. I think 2 stops is the way to go. I think 1 stop you're asking maybe a bit too much of the tyres. You're going to be your stints at the end are just going to be a little bit of a struggle. Your last 3-4 laps of each stint will be a bit of a struggle. So, as I said, I hope you managed to gain some useful information from this video. And thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you on the next one. And everyone have a good race in your FIA Nations. Goodbye.